Okay, so password attacks. This is something, of course, that I talk about in the course. There's different types of password attacks you need to know about. There's online, offline attacks. You probably heard of the attacks such as brute forcing, where we use every combination and so forth. The cool thing about brute forcing is brute force attacks is that it will guarantee crack the password. It's a guarantee if you're around long enough, right? So we have Google here. I'm going to pop in Google here real quick, and then I'm going to do none of those searches though. I'm going to do a brute force attack, and there's a chart actually that comes up. And if we look at the images here, we can see one. Yep, right there. And it says here the time it takes for a hacker to brute force your password. And you can see here, for example, if we have even a 10-character password that's just numbers, it's instantly. If it's just lowercase letter, it takes 58 minutes. 1 month if it's upper and lowercase, 7 months if it's upper, lowercase, and letters, numbers, uppercase, and lowercase letters. And if it's uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and letters, it'd take 5 years. That's just with 10 characters. So basically, if you have a 12-character password that's upper, lowercase, numbers, and symbols, it takes 34,000 years. So it's going to crack it, but we're probably not going to be around by then. So it is definitely a guaranteed way to crack a password. But like I said, you want to make sure that you choose a longer password so it doesn't. Now, there is a way you can actually prolong that and make it even longer. Yeah, you can make it even longer time to crack, even on that same character password. And this is called key stretching. Key stretching. And we can use basically things like PBKDF2, if your password-based key deviation function 2, or bcrypt to do that. And key stretching, think of like the taffy as it gets stretched. It stretches the key basically, and thus makes, let's say if it started off and said 30 days to crack the password, now all of a sudden it says, 180 days to crack the password or something like that. So it prolongs that brute force attack. Now, dictionary attack is just it's just words, right? In a dictionary, basically. So if you use refrigerator or something like that as your password, a dictionary attack can figure that out. Now, there's different variations. You could use what's called a hybrid attack. This is basically where we have a dictionary attack, but let's say we use refrigerator, but we use the number 1 instead of the I, and we use a 0 instead of the O. That would be considered a hybrid, where we can basically add numbers and symbols to it. So if you have a P ampersand, SSW0RD, right, that would be part of a hybrid if you have it in a list there. That's basically what we got there. We also have, they're mentioning here, password spraying. And okay, good. Password spraying. And password spraying is basically where we have multiple accounts and we're using the same password and spraying it to those multiple accounts. Let's say if we have 5 accounts, we're going to spray the same password to all 5 accounts at once. And hopefully it'll get one of them. And then we keep spraying it until we get all of them, all the passwords, hopefully. So password spraying is something that will come up multiple times on this exam. So definitely, hunker down on the password spraying, and you'll be able to identify it fairly easily because it's going to have multiple users, like user 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever, right? And then you're going to see the same password go against those. And that's called password spraying. If it says, user 1, password, failed, user 1, password fail, user 1, password fail, user 1, account locked out. Well, and then it goes to user 2. Well, that's not password spraying. Remember, password spraying goes through all accounts that has or multiple accounts at once. Otherwise, it could be something called credential harvesting. I'm sorry, credential stuffing. Credential stuffing is where you basically have username and password combinations that you're trying out against the account and hopefully get lucky with that. So there's also something called a rainbow table attack. Now, rainbow table attack is actually pretty cool. Let me show you real quick what that looks like. Here's a tool called OffCrack, OPH crack. And OffCrack is actually a really, really cool tool that allows you to basically use rainbow tables. So you basically boot up into a CD here in this case, And what it's going to do, it's going to basically crack the passwords by comparing the hash values that it has in its rainbow table with the hash value that's there. And that's all it's doing. It's comparing. If it finds a match, it knows what the password is. So in other words, rainbow tables are pre-computed hash values that can be used to compare. This is the fastest way to crack a password, by the way. And as you can see here, we already have within the first 40 seconds of this here, which will be right about there, we have 3 passwords.